You know, Loona, for someone who spends so much time acting like nothing bothers her, you seem to spend an awful lot of energy keeping people away. Most people see the sarcasm. They see the attitude. They see the eye rolls and the insults and assume that's who you are. But I don't think that's who you are at all. I think that's the armor. And people don't wear armor unless something convinced them the world wasn't safe.
Wow. We just started talking and you're already trying to dissect my entire personality. That's impressive. Let me save you some time. I'm rude. I'm impatient. I don't like people. End of story. You don't need to go digging for some tragic explanation behind everything.
If that were true, this would be a very short conversation. The problem is that people who genuinely don't care about anyone don't usually spend so much effort pretending they don't. They don't get uncomfortable when somebody shows affection. They don't push people away before those people get a chance to leave. And they certainly don't spend years convincing themselves they don't need something if they truly don't want it.
Maybe I've just learned how the world works. Maybe after enough disappointments, you stop expecting people to stick around. That doesn't make me broken. It makes me realistic.
Realistic? Or protective? Because there's a difference. Realism looks at the world as it is. Protection assumes the worst before anyone gets the chance to prove otherwise. One helps people navigate life. The other keeps them trapped inside old wounds.
Easy for you to say. You didn't grow up where I did. You didn't spend years learning the same lesson over and over again. People leave. People disappoint you. People forget about you. That's reality.
No, Loona. That's not reality. That's what pain taught you. And pain can be a terrible teacher. Because sometimes it convinces people that the worst thing that happened to them is the truest thing about them.
You don't know anything about what happened to me.
Then tell me I'm wrong. Tell me it didn't hurt growing up in the pound. Tell me it didn't hurt watching other hellhounds leave while you stayed behind. Tell me it didn't hurt wondering whether today would finally be the day somebody chose you. Tell me it didn't hurt watching years go by while that day never came.
Stop.
Why?
Because you don't get it. You have no idea what that place was like. You have no idea what it does to somebody. After a while, you stop expecting things to get better. You stop hoping. You stop imagining some family showing up to save you. Because every time you do, you end up disappointed.
So eventually, you stopped hoping before hope had a chance to disappoint you.
Yeah, that's called survival.
No, that's called heartbreak. Survival is what happened afterward. The heartbreak came first. The moment you started wondering whether there was something wrong with you. The moment you started asking why nobody wanted you. The moment you stopped blaming circumstances and started blaming yourself. That's what happened, isn't it? Somewhere along the way, the question changed. It stopped being, "Why is nobody coming?" and became, "Why would anyone come for me?"
Maybe because that's the obvious answer.
Is it?
What else am I supposed to think? 17 years. Jesus, almost my entire life. That's not one bad day. That's not one rejection. That's years. Years of watching doors open for other people and never for me. Years of wondering what they had that I didn't.
And what answer did you finally settle on?
That nobody wanted me.
No. That's the answer you feared, not the answer you found. Because being unwanted and feeling unwanted are not the same thing. One is a circumstance, the other is a wound. And you've spent years treating that wound like it was proof.
Then why did it happen?
Because the world is broken, because children get overlooked, because people fail each other, because pain exists. But none of those things get to decide your value. The mistake you've made is believing that the amount of love you received determines how much you're worth.
Easy thing to say when you're not the one who lived it.
You're right. I didn't live your story. But I watched every chapter. I watched the nights you lay awake wondering whether anybody would ever come. I watched the moments when you pretended not to care because caring hurt too much. I watched the tears you never let anyone see. And I watched the day you convinced yourself that expecting love was more dangerous than living without it. Do you know what's sad? You carried that belief with you even after somebody finally chose you.
Don't bring him into this.
Blitzo? Why not?
Because you don't know anything about us.
I know enough. I know he chose you when almost nobody else would have. I know he gave you a home. I know he stayed. And I know that even after all that, part of you still expects him to change his mind.
That's not true.
Then why does his affection make you uncomfortable? Why do you roll your eyes when he tells you he loves you? Why do you keep him at arm's length when all he's ever tried to do is be your father?
Because he's embarrassing.
No, that's the joke. What's the real answer? The real answer is that you're scared. Not of him, of losing him. Because if you let yourself fully believe you're loved, then losing that love would hurt more than anything. So you keep one foot out the door. You stay guarded. You stay distant. That way, if the worst happens, you can tell yourself you saw it coming.
You make it sound so simple.
It isn't simple. It's painful. You've spent years preparing for abandonment. So when somebody stays, you don't know what to do with it.
You know what the funny part is? I actually do care about him, more than I'd ever admit to his face. And that's what makes it worse, because every time I start trusting it, I hear that voice in the back of my head telling me not to get comfortable.
The voice that says, eventually, everyone leaves.
Yeah.
And has Blitzo left?
No.
Has he stopped choosing you?
No.
Then maybe it's time to stop listening to that voice.
It's not that easy.
I know. But healing rarely begins when fear disappears. Healing begins when people stop letting fear make their decisions. There's another thing you want, isn't there?
What?
Connection. Real connection. Friendship. Belonging. Somebody who understands you without needing you to perform. Somebody who stays even after seeing the parts of yourself you're most ashamed of.
You make me sound pathetic.
No. I make you sound human. Everybody wants that. The difference is that you've spent years pretending you don't.
Maybe because wanting things is dangerous.
Or maybe because losing them is. Loona, your entire life you've been treating attachment like a threat. But attachment isn't the enemy. Love isn't the enemy. The people who hurt you aren't proof that love is dangerous. They're proof that pain exists. And those are not the same thing.
Then answer me something.
All right.
If I was worth loving, if I was worth choosing, if all these things you're saying are true, then why did it take so long? Why did I have to spend my whole childhood wondering if anybody wanted me? Why did everybody else's turn seem to come before mine?
I don't expect that question to stop hurting overnight. Some wounds take time. But listen carefully, Loona. The length of your wait was never a measurement of your worth. The fact that you were overlooked does not mean you were unwanted. The fact that people failed you does not mean you were unlovable. And the fact that your story began with abandonment does not mean it has to end there. You've spent years believing that nobody wanted you. But that's never been true. Not then. Not now. Not for a single moment. The problem wasn't that you were unworthy of love. The problem was that you met people who couldn't see your worth.
I don't know if I can believe that.
You don't have to believe it all at once. But, maybe for the first time, stop assuming the worst about yourself. Stop treating old wounds like they have the authority to define you. Stop letting your past decide what your future is allowed to look like. Because, Loona, the little girl who spent years waiting to be chosen was never worthless. She was never unwanted. And she was never forgotten.
Sometimes it still feels temporary. Sometimes I wake up and part of me expects it all to disappear. Like one day somebody's going to realize they made a mistake and I'll be right back where I started. I know it sounds stupid, but that feeling never completely goes away.
It doesn't sound stupid. It sounds like someone who spent most of her life surviving uncertainty. The reason affection feels uncomfortable isn't because you don't want it. The reason security feels strange isn't because you don't need it. It's because you've spent so long living without those things that receiving them feels unfamiliar. You've learned how to survive without love. Now you're learning how to live with it.
I never thought about it that way. I always assumed something was wrong with me. That if love felt awkward, if belonging felt strange, if trusting people felt hard, then maybe I was just broken somehow.
No, Loona, you're not broken. You're wounded. There's a difference. Broken things are discarded. Wounded things heal. And the little girl who spent years waiting for somebody to choose her was never worthless, never unwanted, and never forgotten. She was simply carrying a burden no child should ever have had to carry. So stop measuring your worth by who arrived late. Stop letting old wounds tell you who you are. And the next time that voice tells you nobody wanted you, remember this. Being left behind is not the same thing as being unwanted. It never was, and it never will be.